I want to ask you about two ball games, kind of in one question here, Steve.
Okay.
And I think I know the answer, but who would a win be bigger for, NC State or Kentucky?
Ooh,
As a
wow.
program, as a
Very
program.
good question.
Thank you.
Very
I'm
good
full of them.
question. Oh, man. I think because of the massiveness of it and being game day and a night game, I think it's NC State. But I think Kentucky has a better chance to win. And when I look at NC State, I went back and watched the game from last year. They beat Clemson in overtime, obviously. Last year was the year to get Clemson. We talked about this previously. But Devin Leary had 14 completions to one receiver in that game last year. 14 to one guy. This year, NC State's leading receiver for the season has 15 catches.
Yeah.
So to me with NC State is, they go on the road, get a win against ECU, not pretty. In control against Texas Tech in their next toughest game, take care of business, cover, defense plays well. Now, we just haven't seen the offense click with Leary. And, it goes back to Doran at the draft saying he's got the best quarterback in college football. Haven't seen it. I
Right.
know he lost a lot of guys, but they need to be, more crisp offensively. And that defensive line, I know that Sam Hartman torched Clemson last week. I think it's a whole different animal. Saturday night at Clemson, crowd behind you. I think it's a really, really tough task for NC State.
So they're going to get those corners in Clemson. I mean, that was the one game I was really cued in on last week. Between Aaron Judge pop-ins, I got to watch that poor fucking kid from Clemson just get the mesh and a go route over and over and over again. Are those players bad, or is this something that's going to pop up over and over again for Clemson?
See, I don't think NC State could test them like Wake did.
Okay.
And I will give them credit, Chris. Like defense, I know this is coached. When you're beat deep in college football, what do?
Yeah, you got to tackle the guy. I mean,
tackle the guy.
I'll get caught sometimes.
Twice.
I'll get caught sometimes like, oh shit, and then I'm like, oh, 15 yards. This is beautiful. I mean, the NFL has me scarred. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
I was blown away with Sam Hartman last week. Like I just the hits he takes and to be able to be that accurate on deep balls. Now he a lot of times has the bigger receiver, and hey, credit to them. That's part of their deal.
Yep.
But the 20 of 29, 6 touchdowns against Clemson, like that is big boy stuff. So I was more impressed. I know Uyunglele, threw the ball well and looked impressive in his best game of the year by far. But I was more impressed with what Sam Hartman did, knowing what he has to work with against that Clemson defense.
So I think I want to say this. I mean, if people think of that mesh thing as a gimmick, it's one of the coolest gimmicks that you probably can use universally. Like you can take that gimmick elsewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody can do that mesh deal somewhere else and be really dangerous, in a bigger program. I don't know if Clausen ever moves on, but like that, Paul Johnson runs like the fucking option or something. You're like, all right.
I'd like to see it against like an Aaron Donald. Yeah, that thing is so slow.
But they did a good job protecting for most of the game.
Awesome.
And so
Awesome.
And I was going to ask you this, Steve, how high do you think Hartman can go on a draft board in April?
I just look at okay, so I think we talked about this. I know I have other places, but like the whole idea of the ACC this year was about the quarterbacks, right? So much quarterback talent. And when I looked at Clemson with DJ, it was like, I think I would take like 7 guys over him.
Yeah.
And that's probably not the case. I wasn't that high on Tyler Van Dyke either at Miami because I didn't think he had the goods of guys around him. And you see that. They don't have any guys that could separate that whole thing. So I look at him. Leary hasn't played up to par. But when you look at Hartman, like, he makes all the throws. Like, those cross-field deep outs, he can make those. He throws a great deep ball. He obviously could throw the short game. I think his stock's rising, man. I really do. Now, I heard McShay say yesterday he has 3 guys in the first round with C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis. I don't know if I guess Bryce is going to go in the first round, but I really, really wonder about his stature. I
got one for you.
I don't think he's going to be. I'll be surprised if he measures at 5'10", but he's not tipping over 190 on the scales. Like that's saying a lot. Like Kyler Murray's got some girth to him. Russell Wilson's a well-built dude.
Yep.
Bryce is really slight to me.
Yeah, he's slight. That's my worry. Yeah, it's like you can be short in today's NFL. Like you can open windows and find the windows and that sort of thing. Although I still I worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to take a beating, especially if you're drafted by a bad team. Hey, Sam Hartman or Stetson Bennett?
Oh, who's hotter?
Yeah,
Sam Hartman. Yeah. Yeah.
Guy's got a beard, huh?
Yeah.
Good hairline. His hairline's down here, bro.
It's not fair.
Yeah. No. Don't want him around my family.
Mm-mm.
Hey, what were you going to say?
Penix, Hartman, Levis. Who are you taking to start your NFL team?
Oof.
I'm taking Hartman personally.
Yeah, I think I would take Sam.
That's not recency bias or anything. It's not that I was on the couch sweating Clemson last week. That guy made quite the impression. He does every year. Like one game a year, you're watching Wake, and you're like, fuck, dude. Why are they not even better? It's great. So, I mean, I would contend that for Kentucky, it feels like as an outsider. Like NC State, I grew up and NC State was real good. Yeah. You know, like NC State's always been relevant in the ACC. It feels like
and then they fuck it up.
When they fuck it up, they're like, they got the Clemsoning was a verb now, probably NC Stating.
Yeah, I don't think they've been good enough to
actually NC State, but to
be a participle.
Reese Davis calls it wolf packing.
Wolf packing, which works even better. But Kentucky, man, it just feels like I don't know. They've been 5-0 before, but they go down here and beat a ranked team that they're catching a touchdown down there. I feel like the buzz in what is it, Lexington? It's a fucking it's real right now. It feels like we're joining the SEC for real before our very eyes, dude. They've had good pros for years. They've won a lot of football games, but this feels like a big win for them if they can pull it out.
I look at how Mark Stoops has built this is that underdog mentality, and he still could pull that off this week going on the road. 7-point underdog. Everybody talking about Ole Miss, all the transfers they got, what they've looked like. And not playing anybody. I give Tulsa credit for covering against Ole Miss last week, but Ole Miss, they have not been tested. And Kentucky has went to the swamp, got an ugly win, but they got the win. And the offensive line, they got 3 guys from that O-line last year that are on NFL rosters. That's been their struggle. But Levis has made enough plays. I really like the receivers and tight ends. And Mark Stoops is going to have a defense coming in to stop that Ole Miss run game. And I'm not sure about the Ole Miss pass game because when you think about Ole Miss, wide receivers, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, like all those guys, they don't have those guys this year. So I think Kentucky has the goods to play a tight game. I think it's lower scoring than your typical Ole Miss game. I do like Kentucky to cover the number.
Ole Miss has won 12 straight at home. Can you paint us a picture of the Grove? Does a noon kick hamper the people at the Grove, or are they up at 6 a.m. and doing their business?
Lane is very pointed with his comments, and he talked about that this week. 11 a.m. kick in the Grove. Like, hey, we're an SEC school. Can we come out and support our team? And I think it'll be a late arriving crowd at the Grove.
Is that kind of like Charlottesville a little bit?
Well, except that
it's a little bigger.
They enter the stadium.
Right, got it.
They're there. They're just tailgating until...
And I know some local listeners might be like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, just go to the game.
Yeah.
And people will stop saying you don't go to the games.
The Grove is grass, and there's a lot more pavement at Virginia. I'll say that. Like the grass, I think it's more enticing.
Yeah, we call it the concrete jungle. You're the Grove, we're the concrete jungle.
Professional deal. Like, that's how the girls, can get all dressed up, and the guys can wear their nice shirts because they just have people come in and they set up the tailgate. Like, you don't do anything. You just pour your drinks and eat your food. It's unbelievable how convenient it is to tailgate in the Grove, which makes it more enticing to maybe stay there and not have to walk a couple hundred yards into the stadium.
Well, I can't wait to go with you one day, Steve, to the Grove.
You get one of them jets and we'll go.
Get one of them jets. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.